This video lesson is going to review how to put together your clarinet. So the first thing you do is you place your case flat on the floor and make sure that you can read the name of the case. If the name of the case is facing the sky, you're good to go. You open up your case. If you have it upside down, then the parts of your clarinet will all fall out of your case. So make sure you can read the name of your case. Okay, then you open up your case and you'll see all the different parts of your clarinet. The first thing you want to do is you want to take your reed out and put it in your mouth, just like that. So you start to wet your reed. Then you can put the rest of your clarinet together with the reed in your mouth. Okay? I'm going to take this out of my mouth for this video so that you can understand what I'm saying, but you should have this in your mouth as you're putting together your clarinet to make sure this is ready to go. So, you're going to start with the bottom of the clarinet and work your way up. You can see on the blue sheet that I've given you the names of the different parts of the clarinet here, and we're going to start on the very bottom and then work our way up and put it together. So we start with the bell. You want the name of the instrument that you can see of the writing on the bell to face away from your body so it looks nice that way. Then the next part you're going to do is take the lower joint, which is the longer one, and it's the one that has the thumb rest on the bottom, or on the back of it. Okay, you're going to put this together, and you're gonna just kind of twist and slide in that way, and you don't want there to be any sort of hole like that or gap, so you wanna make sure you push it in and slide it all the way. Now, if some of you have clarinets that are not wanting to slide together very well, you can get cork grease, which you should have in your case. It looks like chapstick, and you can put some cork grease, just a tiny bit, really, really little bit, on the cork part of your clarinet, and then rub it in with your finger, and that will help the parts of your clarinet slip together, slide together a little bit better. Careful not to put too much. You don't want all the parts to slide around a lot and then gunk to come out of it. So only a very little bit. Okay, so now you've got the bell together and the lower joint. The next part that comes is the upper joint. Now this is the tricky part for clarinet. When you put this together, you'll see a bridge key here. It's the low one that sticks out over your cork. This key, you have to be very careful that you don't bend it. It's really easy to bend it on accident. So if you look on the front of your clarinet, where your keys are, you're going to push this down, and this part actually raises your bridge key. You can see it. I'm pushing this down. It's the second key towards the second metal part towards the bottom. And when I push that down, it raises the bridge key, so it's less likely to hit something when you're putting it together. It's less likely to bend. So I push that down, and then I push and twist this together. And when I do it, I make sure that that bridge key right here, that's the part, lines up with the rest of the bridge underneath. Otherwise, if it didn't line up, people would be going over the bridge, and then they just fall off. Okay, so you have to line it up with this part right here that's on the lower joint. It's the bottom of the bridge. You want to make sure it gets very straight and in line together right there. Okay, it's kind of hard to see because it's hidden underneath all of these fancy big keys right here. Okay, so you've got to kind of look carefully. So now you've got the bell, the lower joint, and the upper joint. And you still have the reed in your mouth. Now what I would do is, instead of putting the rest of this together, I would set this aside very carefully, lay it down, or put it in your case very carefully. Do not stand it up like this and leave it. It will fall over and it could bend the keys or the rods. So just set it down carefully, and then we're going to put this part together. So this next part you've got is your barrel, and once again you want the words that you can see, mine's a little faded, to be facing away from you, so that people who would be standing in front of you can see that. And then your mouthpiece twists onto the skinnier part of the barrel, and you just twist those together. The hole in the mouthpiece right here that you can stick your finger in is the part that's going to go on the bottom of your lip this way. So you want that to be facing here, and then all the words to kind of line up on the outside. Okay? The next thing you do is assemble the rest of your mouthpiece. You take your reed that you've had in your mouth this whole time, and put the flat part of your reed against the flat part of the mouthpiece, and this really thin part of the reed at the top that's like kind of see-through even at the top, it's so thin, goes at the top towards the tip, okay, the tip of the mouthpiece, tip of the reed. So you're gonna put that and line it up so that you can only see a very, very, very tiny bit of black on top, not much at all. You should not be able to see a lot of black, okay? Just a very tiny bit peeking over the edge. You're gonna hold it in place with your thumb and take your ligature, which is this metal part that has the screws on it. And the wider part, if you look carefully at your ligature, you'll see that one part is wider, the bottom part right here is wider. So that part goes on the bottom. And you're gonna carefully place it over your reed, make sure you don't bump your reed, and slide it on the bottom, just like that. And you know you're far enough down with your ligature if it lines up below. Some of you might have a line on your clarinet, and if you don't, it should line up a little bit below, like where the thick part of the reed is starting, okay? So you pull that down, and then make sure, double check your reed is in the correct spot. It didn't move around. You can gently slide it if you moved it around on accident. And then you're gonna twist these screws here to tighten them. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So tighten them, turn them to the right just a little bit. You don't want them to be super, super tight, but you want it to be tight enough so it's pretty snug and the reed won't move around. And then your mouthpiece is together. After you put your mouthpiece together and this part of your clarinet together, don't put the whole thing together yet. You should practice playing on just this tone maker, which is your mouthpiece and the barrel, first. Then after you do that, then you can put the whole thing together. When you do that whole thing together, you want your reed to face the back part, right here where your thumb is, and you're gonna gently twist this on. So your reed lines up evenly with this, and then the front of your clarinet, all of these open keys right here line up very nicely. So it looks like that. Okay, all set.